Good morning, Japan. Good afternoon, America. Excuse me as I put on my socks. How is everybody? Ah. All right, I'm going to be looking for copyright music, or not copyright, copyright-free music right now, as I do. Good afternoon, America. Oh, I can hear myself. We are live. Very cool. All right. So I'm putting on copyright-free music. Let's look at that together. Royalty-free detective music. And got a 35-minute video. Got a 51. That could work. Police and crime investigation. Yep. This could work. All right. Well, today we're going to be writing a dream sequence. Exciting. With my socks on, hopefully. All right. Okay. Give me a moment. Sorry. So today we are listening to some detective music that's royalty free. I'm so sleepy. It's only 5:30, or it's only 6 a.m. here, meaning that for you guys, it is 3 p.m. Yes. Oh, up I go. All right. I'm actually going to click play on this. And I'm going to click well, I guess it's not live. Here we go. How do I live? Here we go. Cool. So there I am. It's kind of trippy, but if you scroll down to the description, you can figure out what Viable is. All you have to do is go to www.viablemanga.com or click this link in the description below, and then you can learn about Viable. Viable is a copyleft manga, and copyleft basically means that you're allowed to copy, distribute, and modify my manga at your discretion, so long as any derivative that you make credits me, and any copy that you make credits me with this Copyleft Joshua Stevenson, and then including a copy of the free art license, and your derivatives also be copyleft. So if you make, for example, let's say you make a fan dub of my manga. By the way, we are drinking milk tea, which in Japan is just amazing. I love milk tea. But if you make a derivative of my manga, meaning that you make, let's say, a fan dub that you want to make money off of, which you totally could, because that's what this license allows you to do, make money off your own works that you make based on my work. If you wanted to, you could, and so long as you include my copyleft information and your copyleft information. And that's it. You gotta just make yours copyleft as well. So, yes, basically what the internet already does, as Caleb put it a few streams ago, or maybe one of my first streams, basically the same thing that the internet already does, except this time there's no legal worries about it. There's no gray area. So yeah, enjoy. What am I thinking? Making copies and derivatives, and you can post it all over the internet. It's fine. It'll be fun. I'm excited. So, but yes, so long as you include it somewhere in your description, you should be able to do that. Now, today we are going to be talking about, we're going to be writing a nightmare sequence for one of my characters, Vassa. And for those of you who do not know, Vassa is one of the main characters of my manga, Bible, and Lucy is another main character. Look at this cutie patootie. Vassa is basically a USSR detective. He lives in an alternate history where the assassination of Yunejiro Asanuma never happens. This guy was a Socialist Party of Japan politician. He was the glue that was holding the party together. He was assassinated in 1960 by this guy named Otoya Yamaguchi. When that happened, the party eventually crumbled, and as a result of that, communism never took off in Japan as it did in Vietnam or in Korea, or in particularly China. But yeah, communism never took off nearly to the extent as those other countries. And so, in this alternate history, Vassa is a USSR detective who is living in Japan, who is their closest ally. So, Vassa is a USSR detective, and a good one too, due to a disastrous mistake in his career that involved the death of a young civilian, which we're actually going to have as a part of his nightmare sequence that we're going to be writing today. His public image was tarnished in his home country. To keep him busy while the storm blows over, his superior transferred him to work side by side with Soviet Russia's closest ally, Japan. Now, a foreigner in a strange new land, Vassa begrudgingly works with the local policemen to both solve crime and intercept any coup attempts against the current ruling party, the Nihon Shokai To, or Shakai? The Nihon Shakai To, also known as the Japanese Socialist Party. Now, all that being said, yes. So Vassa is a bit jet-lagged in the story. He falls asleep in a car, and we're gonna be exploring that past, that history. And then if we have time, we're going to conclude our writing and maybe even finish up writing the manga. I don't think we're going to do that today because the manga is 75 pages and we're only on like page 51, which, to be fair, is pretty far in the manga. Pretty excited. Lucy, this spunky 6-year-old, suddenly appeared one day while Vassa was working on a case. In fact, that's the current case that we're writing. She appears in this case. He quickly finds out that he is the only one that can see her. Is Lucy a ghost? A manifestation of his trauma? Either way, she is able to help him visualize things that would otherwise be impossible. After all, she's all in his head. Very cool. One of the things that I also want to mention is that Vassa had a wife in Soviet Russia, and he also had a daughter that his wife was pregnant with, and unfortunately, she died in childbirth, which happens occasionally, and it's sad and tragic. And so, as a result of that, we're going to include that in his nightmare as well. There's going to be so much stuff, so much symbolism regarding Vassa that we're going to write about. Okay, so we have around 57. Okay. So, how do we start a dream sequence? Well, let's establish where we are right now. So, Vassa is in a police car with Hana on their way to the final location of this chapter, which is the warehouse where the Mitsubishi Cordia, the Mitsubishi dealership, basically they're hiding the body. He doesn't know it's a body yet, but they're hiding a child who's probably like 13 or 14 years old, of a Japanese politician. And they're asking the politician for ransom. And yeah, so pretty good. We might include some hints there, but we can just start off with Vassa falls into So, I mean, look, in manga, usually the odd pages are the first page. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, the odd pages are on the left. The even on the right, maybe. And it would be the first page. But in this case, okay, so we can first start by zooming in on Vassa. That could be the first thing that we do. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. This book is bent. Anyway, yes, I was looking at this printed tennis book as a reference. But yeah. Okay. So the question is, how do we start the dream sequence? So let's look at some dream sequences. This is art that this is not professional though. There we go. I mean, with dreams, should we get trippy? That's cool. This is from My Hero Academia. The characters are walking and not sure if that's a dream, but no, it's just a blog post. Pretty neat. I don't think I've ever read a dream sequence before. I might need to look at like Paprika or sort of creepy stuff. I don't know. Anyway, in this I would like to include some infantile images. So for example, I think I might be the only one watching my own stream right now. But for example, By the way, if you would like to, copy anything or look at any of my concept art, all you gotta do is click on this link, and that'll bring up the folder that includes pretty much everything in my viable chapter 1 manga stuff, which is exciting. I'm going to include a chapter 2 whenever I'm finished with chapter 1, but here's chapter 1. You can go to finished pages, miscellaneous art, rough drafts, and story writing. We are currently in the story writing, and story writing, here's viable chapter 1. That will include all the pages and stuff, yeah? And that's going to include, I don't know if I should do, I don't know. Anyway. So the 2 folders that I don't have anything in is rough drafts and finished pages, because I haven't started on those. Those are going to be next when we're finished with this. I do have miscellaneous art, which includes concept art and old art and newer art and stuff. Lucy 3D model. This is a 3D model of Lucy that I made. Cool stuff, cool stuff. Yes. Very neat. Made this a while ago. But yeah. Also, by the way, if you look on the stream to my right, my buddy Caleb, he drew art of me while I was writing. And so if you guys ever have any art or anything you want to message me about, just message me at joshuacalebstevenson@gmail.com, which you can also find on my website in the copyright. Scroll all the way down right here. joshuacalebstevenson@gmail.com. You can send me fan art, and when I receive that, I'll put it right there on the stream, so right on this right side panel, right next to my camera. So I'll do that. Yeah, that's something I can do. Okay. Yes. Anyway, what am I doing? Writing. That's right. I'm procrastinating writing because there's no one's shown up yet. Caleb showed up to say this is a really cool thing, and yeah. Anyway, so he made a comment on here. Yeah, just had to say, love the trailer work before the stream. Great professional work, man. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Thank you, Caleb. Really cool. Yes, am I procrastinating? Yes, I am. It is what it is. Page 57. We're gonna start this off. Let's write some notes. I want to include some imagery of babies in the womb, whether that I want to include him shooting his gun. I want to include, I don't know why that got bold all of a sudden. Alright. Him at his wife's grave. When a pregnant woman dies, the people make two graves. Hmm. Well, this is getting into some disturbing things. But I suppose 2 headstones for both the woman and the baby would work. I don't want to look that up. Oh, that sounds not safe for children. I'm about to click this, so if anyone's curious or squeamish, turn away now. Probably just gonna be descriptions, hopefully. Man, that's so sad. Okay. Yeah, this is just too much. I'm just wondering if they would have 2 headstones. I would suppose so. Also in Russia. Okay. Okay, so Soviet graves would typically just be headstones. Into some dark stuff. I guess I'm gonna have to research Soviet headstones whenever I make this. Very curious. Russian mafia. That's a little different than Soviet Russian. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to include a picture of her on a stone. That might be the mafia. Yeah, this is post-Soviet. But even still, that's interesting. Post-Soviet gravestones included pictures of them on it. Very weird, but that would not be during the time of Soviet Russia. So I'm assuming it's just going to be a normal headstone. I'm just going to click Soviet War Memorials. Yeah. Anyway, got into a rabbit hole there, but I want to include imagery of him shooting a gun. I want to include imagery of his wife and daughter's tombstone. Amongst other things. There's some symbolic things we could include. Man, I don't believe in this sort of stuff. Karma and junk. It sounds like things that certain people with crystals would believe in. Or Hindus. I guess Hindus would do that. So I do believe in meaning behind dreams. Because in Joseph, he was able to interpret dreams. But I guess I can make my own symbols. Yeah. Let's ignore that. A lot of times dreams include like a shattering glass effect or something. Maybe fire? What exactly happened? I guess is what we're trying to figure out, yeah? Because the only thing I have written is that Vassa's is a disastrous mistake that involved the death of a young civilian. I haven't really written that out yet, you know? And so I'm kind of wondering what exactly happened, and I'm sure the viewers are too. The readers are too. And so I guess that's my first question. What happened? What happened with Vassa? That caused the death of a young child in Soviet Russia. Okay, so that's my first question to the viewers. What happened in Soviet Russia? I'm gonna loop this over here. But yeah, what happened in Soviet Russia that caused the death of a young child? That caused him to be put from Japan to, from Soviet Russia to Japan. You know, like what happened? Why is he there? It's a question. So let me think of some ideas. So I want to include imagery of babies in the womb, to symbolize, you know, the baby that had passed away, his excitement and want of children. I want to include him shooting his gun, similar to how Lucy was like, bang, you know, but I want this one to be a more negative sort of, you know, just, I guess, it symbolizes detectivism. I want to include the imagery of his wife and daughter's tombstone, and perhaps his wife, right? Dream sequences are weird, and it might just be something that I just have to draw out without, I don't want there to be any dialogue, right? So let's just write that, no dialogue. And yeah, so the main question is, what happened? What happened to cause Vassa to need to go out of Russia? Hey Rihanna, how you doing? So the child does get shot. Not necessarily. So with Viable, one of the important symbols that I'm going to be including in it is the shooting of a gun, like the killing, quote unquote, killing of someone. Because it's just a reference to Cowboy Bebop. I love it when Spike said bang and then he fell and went flat on his face. But I also want there to be an in-lore version in Viable as well. So Lucy going bang whenever she first meets Vassa for the first time, right? I want to include something like that, but I also want to be able to include that with Vassa himself. And spoiler alert, they do eventually meet in person for the first time, and he's going to do the same finger bang to her as she did to him, and that's going to be the end of the story. So yeah, that's going to be fun, yeah. But that being said, I have no clue what happened in Soviet Russia that caused Vassa to need to be transferred to Japan. So that's kind of the first thing I'm trying to figure out. Yes. So I want to include imagery of babies in the womb, so that way he he wants children, right? I want to include imagery of him shooting his gun, because he does use his gun, and he would use his gun in a case. That's a cute ending. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. I'm actually really excited to write that. And it harkens back to this chapter, right? Chapter 1, where Lucy first does it to him. And so he's going to be doing the same thing to her when he first meets her in real life. So both first meetings are going to have that, right? So that's exciting. And I do want it to end after, I think, the 9th volume. So then I want there to be 9 books, similar to how the average woman's when it comes to pregnancy is 9 months. So that's another symbolism there, I guess. Pretty exciting. And there's going to be a lot of baby and infant symbolism in this story. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of themes about children, babies, birth, and different things like that. So that's what I want to include in this story. Yeah. So, for example, I want, you know how Dragon Ball has, well, you know how some manga, or not manga, some books have like art on the spine of their covers. So well, not that. Something like this. Like that. Which is really cool. Or like this. Though these are custom. I would want mine to include that, to include something like this on it. Though Lucy's face is in the way. See, this is really cool because it's like an image there, yeah. So I would want to include something like that on my spine, but I would also want it to be Lucy in a fetal position, right? So it's like, because it's going to include a lot of symbolism about children and babies and different things. So that's exciting. Yeah. So whenever I print the manga, I would want it to be something like that. So that's exciting. I don't know if I would want it black and white. I'd probably color it, but yeah, I would include Lucy in a fetal position, in that sort of spine. And those who do not know, the fetal position is basically how babies in the womb sleep. But it's also something that people can just do, right? This is what people think of typically when they think of the fetal position. Someone cowering in the corner, but I would want something more like this with Lucy, and probably looking at the looking at the camera rather than just with her head down. But that could work too. I don't really know. Don't mean to show actual infants here, but yes, that's basically the position that I would draw Lucy in, and put her on the spine of the cover of the books. So I would want 9 books total, to symbolize the 9 months of pregnancy. So it's not going to be that long of a series. Each volume would probably be about 8 chapters, with the exception of the first one. The first one would be 6 chapters, because if I'm thinking correctly, yeah, each of them would be about 200 pages. And so, yeah, each volume of the book would be 200 pages. So the first volume would be 75 for the first chapter, and 25 for every chapter after it. So that's one. So that would be 2 for 100, and then 4 more for the 6 chapters for the first volume. And then every volume after that would be 25 chapters per chapter, and that would be 25 times 8 is 200. So every volume after that would be 8 chapters total. So the first volume would be 6 chapters, and volumes 2 through 9 would be 8 chapters, and that would be a total of, I think it's 70 if I did the math right. So 8 times 8 is 64, plus 6 is 70. Yeah, so that'd be a total of 70 chapters for Viable, and then it would end on that. So I do want there to be like an ending, and I think 70 chapters is doable. And then from there, I'd probably just move on to the next project. I would, I might be able to continue writing Bible after that fact, but like maybe post Lucy being saved and stuff. Maybe do like a slice of life manga of Vassa and Lucy. But I would consider that to be, I would consider that to be non-canon, I guess, too viable. Though technically, I would be the one to write it. I don't know. I like the drama. I like the detective-ness of this manga. So, yes. And I would be cool with anyone basically doing anything after Viable is finished. So that's kind of an exciting thought. Those are my thoughts of the spine of the cover, of the books, and it would end after 9 volumes, which isn't really a lot when you think about it. Like Prince of Tennis, it has 42 volumes, right? And Spy Family also just got to like its 11th volume, I think. Oh no, they're way ahead. 5, 6, 7. Their 12th volume. Okay, yeah, they just got to their 12th volume. And yeah, they've been working on it for about, or I guess he's been working on it since 2019. So that's the equivalent of like 5 years. Yeah, 5 years to make the amount of volumes plus some. So he finished his 9th volume, which is when I would finish my manga entirely. He finished that in 2023 of March, and he published his first, this is the English one. Okay, so the 11th volume of Spy Family was finished in 2022 of April. Wow, a whole year apart between the English release. And he started in 2019 of July. So it took him about 3 years. 3 years to do that. And he's a professional, so he has like deadlines, and he doesn't have a second job like I have. But yeah, so I would assume mine would take about 5 years to finish my series. Yeah, maybe more. If I continue streaming every day like this, it would take about 5 years, I'd assume. But that's just an assumption. I don't really know. I've never written a manga before. Let's look at Nisekoi, because why not? Let's see how many Nisekoi volumes there are. I really liked Nisekoi. It's been a long time since I've read it, though. But it was really good. I remember being engrossed in it. Okay, so this is the 9th volume. 5 years of live stream. Fun! Oh, yeah, that's true. But yeah, Nisekoi itself had 25 volumes. So that's like almost 3 times the amount that I want to make. Yeah. But that being said, 9 volumes does seem like a lot, especially for an individual artist. If I were to look at like other individual artists, one that comes to mind is Mark Crilly. He did a lot of stuff on YouTube, and I remember him growing up. I haven't watched his videos lately, but he's a comic artist who does stuff on YouTube, and I think he made Mickey Falls, which I have in America. I found them at a game exchange once, and I bought them. I think he only had 3 or 4, yeah. He had 4 books, and I don't know. I was just, yeah. one, I didn't really think I started reading it, but I didn't really read through it. I didn't finish reading it, so I didn't know if it was interesting or not. But it took him quite a few years to finish it, and it's only four volumes. So oh, they're gonna make it into a movie. Interesting. Okay, but anyway, let me see the homepage. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you, Dead Links. That'll work. Mark Curly. Really good. Yeah. He does a lot of how to draw stuff now. Brody's Ghost was his second one. And book 3 in 2012. He must have not updated this in a long time. But yeah. I remember him. I don't know if he worked on it. Yeah, so he had 4. I just don't know when they were released. I think it showed back here. Anyway, he's a single artist who does manga style art, and it took him, yeah, from 2007. Why does it say 2007 and then spring twice? What's going on there? Does he have autumn? What? Okay, let's just look at Amazon. And by Mark Curly. And okay, 1. Yeah, autumn. 2, 3 out of 4. Yeah. Okay. You would think that they would do better at marking when this was made, but 16 years ago. Goodness gracious. Yeah, anyway. It took him quite a few years from what I can remember. It just says 2007, and then it just says notable events in 2007 comics. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for when was this released? Ah, yes. Back to writing. Sorry. Maybe Vassa had to make a decision. And he hesitated, that caused the children to die. Yo! Hey Caleb, how you doing? It's good to see you. Thanks for popping in on your break, probably, I assume. It is it's like 3:50 there, 3:50. Yep. Good to see you. Good to see you. Or maybe miscalculated something that in that error cost the child. And then Caleb says, I'm sorry for the late join, been swamped at work. No worries. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you. Yes, so what I've gotten so far, this is a dream sequence. We're writing about Vassa. He's asleep in the car on the way to the final location of chapter 1. And so we're having a dream sequence. I want to include imagery of babies in the womb, because Vassa really wanted babies. And his wife was pregnant and died of a miscarriage, which is everyone's nightmare, biggest nightmare. I want to include imagery of him shooting his gun. I want to include imagery of his wife and daughter's tombstone. I don't want there to be dialogue. And so my main question was, what happened in Soviet Russia that caused Vassa to be transferred to Japan? And it could result in the death of a young civilian. I don't know. Something happened. I haven't really come up with it. I haven't really written it out. I just kind of thought of it. Ben was writing that he was they were cracking down on prostitution joints, and when he shot at somebody, it went through a wall, and the wall ended up hitting a kid and their mom. So that's what Ben wrote. I don't really want to include prostitution in my story. I don't like any sort of stuff like that. So, but that could be it could be potential. Could be potential in that. If you want to write your own version of the story where that is included, by all means. Yes, but yeah, so that's possible. We can still include the shooting through those walls and a bullet ricocheting and hitting a kid. We could have a decision that was made that cost the life of a child, like Rihanna was saying. So let's put some, yeah, a stray bullet from crossfire. Yep. So this is dream stuff. And let's do let's do Vassa's past stuff. Okay. So let's write some potential things that happened. Stray bullet. That's possible. Stray bullet killed a kid. Miscalculation, or maybe person used the child as shield. That and Vassa accidentally killed him. That's possible. That's giving me some Afghanistan vibes. Let me see. So, a selfish person. I like that actually. That's very symbolic of what I'm trying to go for. I really want there to be symbolism of children, of mistreatment of children, and different things like that. And I want that to be looked down upon. I want that to be like negative, right? No one wants children to be mistreated. But yeah, using children as a shield, that I think that's a good symbol. And I think Caleb knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, I think that's a good symbol for what I want to include. Yeah, in my symbolism. Because it's one thing to like accidentally kill someone. It's another thing to be used as a shield. So that's like malicious intent. I like that idea. But what do you guys think? And also, I should give like a couple more options. And why is this so? Let's fit. There we go. Okay. So these are possibilities. Stray bullet killed a kid. Person used a child as a shield. What's another way that a kid could have died? Yeah, man, that's awful, and I would love it. Yes. Yes. Yeah. I'm gonna type something to you, Caleb, just so that you remember exactly what I was talking to you about a while ago. Yeah, I'm just gonna type that in the messages. There you go. So I sent a message to you, Caleb, about specifically, which is why I think that using a child as a shield would be very symbolic of that, you know? So yes. Yeah. um. Yes. Okay, I like that idea a lot. But there's also other ideas that people can use. So, what would be something that the public would dislike Vassa for? I think him shooting a child is something that is very, controversial, and they'll be like, "Oh, you're the cop that killed a kid, aren't you?" It's like, yeah, we don't want you here. That makes sense. You killed the youth, the generation that will rule our country, that will lead us forward into. You killed our youngest comrades. That's not good. Here's a wild idea. Child sacrifice. I don't know. It still works with the shield one, even though it was accidental. That's true. So maybe there was a cult. And the public would see. Yeah, all the public would see is that he shot a kid. That's true. That is true. I don't know if there would be cults in Soviet Russia. Maybe there would definitely be rebellions, but I don't know if there'd be cults. So maybe including a cult wouldn't be that good. But okay, so let's figure that out. I'm gonna put that to a poll real quick. We're just gonna do that. We're gonna boom, got it. No poll. That's what I want. Person used a child as a shield, and Vassa killed him. Cool. It's very symbolic of like the modern neglecting of children, or people being incredibly selfish and, basically neglecting or maliciously doing things against children, for their own purpose, which I am totally against. But what would Vassa killing the child accidentally present? Would it? So also, what was the case? Is it a rebellion case? Would it be the Americans, that were trying to? Because he did specialize in uprisings and rebellions, so that would be his primary detective thing. His primary, I guess, major subject in college. Yeah, but also we mentioned that a kid died before, right, in the conversation. In the conversation with Hana. Here we go. I mean, it was related to a kid. You've been worried about these kids, and when you can speak Russian to. It's probably just the same as what you heard. A stray bullet killed a kid. So that's what we wrote. A stray bullet killed a kid. So he's just straight up lying here, because he just shot a kid. I can edit this. Child trafficking. That's good. That's a good idea. I really like that idea. Yes. Why would a kid be there? That's a good question. Very good question. Very good idea. Very good. Thank you, Rihanna. Great ideas. I like that. Yeah. To me, child trafficking is also one of the worst things. I hate child trafficking. So that's a really good idea. But yeah. Okay, so in the conversation with Hana, he said a stray bullet killed a kid. I kind of like that he says that, because he's kind of downplaying what actually happened by giving a white lie. But some people would see that as an inconsistency in the story. So should I replace that? That's what I'm gonna ask next in the chat. Poll time. Poll time. Poll. Where's the polls? Yeah. There we go. Poll. Should I replace that stray bullet quote in the convo with Hana? Start. Let's figure that out. Because I like the idea that he's lying to her, but I also he doesn't seem like the type of guy who would lie. So, ooh, no, that's good. Because it would make sense, but then Hana can point out the inconsistency. Very interesting. All right. So we got one vote for no. I think leave it. He doesn't see it as intentional. That's true. You could avoid any claims of inconsistency by having him say that he was too ashamed to tell the truth or that he was too traumatized to say the truth. That's true too. Good stuff. All right. It was a child trafficking case. I like that. Very cool. We got 3 votes for no. Very good. Okay, cool. Wow. Let's end that poll. Well, I'm not going to replace it. Yeah, very good. And hey, Imagine, it's good to see you again. Sorry, I didn't realize that was you because Rihanna's color is the same on the stream. It's purple. So, but hey, yeah, and Caleb's here too. We have 3 people in the chat. Let's go. Okay, so in the past, a person who's a child, Vassa accidentally killed them. It was a child trafficking case. I like that. Vassa killed a kid. Vassa straight up kills him. That would be traumatic, and he would definitely dream about that. So I want to include imagery of a dead child. Of a dying child. Oh, that's gory. That would make this from a PG sort of thing to like a kind of an R rating, you know? Should I include that? Of a gory imagery of a dying child? This is intense, man. And this music is bopping. By the way, royalty-free detective music. This guy, I'm liking his stuff. Pretty cool. Okay. Okay, let's do a new poll. What should this be rated? What should Vassa be rated? I'm okay with drawing gore, but that being said, if you guys want PG-13 instead, if it's rated R, I'm not going to include cursing because, one, cursing doesn't really exist in Japanese other than kuso, which means, well, I don't like cursing, but it means damn it. But that's like the only Japanese cursing there is, and so that's why I'm not really going to include cursing. But I'm also not going to include sexual content. But when it comes to like gore and blood, I could do that, you know. I could. The dream sequence especially gory with a child getting shot in the face, and that can really exemplify his nightmares, you know. So so if it's rated R, I will include imagery of that. If it's rated PG, I'd probably make it more symbolic. Probably have I don't know, like what is something that could like symbolize the death of a child? Maybe like have a shadow of something innocent, like a dove getting shot, right? Something like that, you know, like just a silhouette of a bird getting shot. That would be the more PG. PG-13 might have the child itself as a silhouette, maybe getting ripped apart or something. And if it's rated R, I would just include gore. You know, it'd just be a kid with its eye popping out and stuff. So visually, if you include the dying child, you could frame it as a shadowy silhouette to avoid showing actual gore, making it less visually realistic and more like symbolic. Yeah, no, that's true. That's exactly what I was thinking. It would be a symbol. So, but yeah, PG would be like a dove or something. And in the shadow, you wouldn't actually see the death of the dove. It would just be like a bullet. You would see the silhouette of a like a line, and at the end of the line is a bullet going through a shadow of a dove. PG-13 would be that of maybe a child in a fetal position, like maybe like a baby in the womb getting shot. Which would be a little weird, but it would make sense in this context because Vassa himself had a wife who died in childbirth. So that's why that would include, he would associate the death of that kid with his daughter who died in the womb. And then rated R would just be very gory, very, very bloody. And that is something I think people with actual nightmares would have over something like that. You know, he would see it every night probably. Yeah, so it's more realistic, but it's also much, much scarier. So, let's see how many votes we got. Okay, we got 1 vote for PG-13. But I do want to include imagery of a child dying. Getting shot. And I'm going to say whether symbolic with a dove or actually whether what's it called? Whether through a silhouette. Is that right? I did not. Darn. That has an H in it. Silhouette. I was close. There's no L. There's only one L. Silhouette. Silhouette. Whether through a silhouette of a bird. Baby in the womb getting shot, or actual gore. I like how so far everyone's pretty much been on the same page in the votes. We had 3 votes for the child getting. No, what did we do? What did we do last time? Short-term memory loss. Anyway, we had 3 votes for the same thing last time, and now this time we already have two for the same, which is great. Same page, and I think I'm leaning towards PG-13 as well, because I think the symbolism of the baby in the womb getting shot is more powerful. I think you can find ways to make it haunting or eerie without being too gory or horrible. Yes, I agree. Very good. Awesome job, guys. Thank you for your input. This is intense, and with the man, I'm excited. This is a good way to write things, I think. Okay, So we're going to include imagery of babies in the womb. We're going to include imagery of him shooting the gun. Let's go ahead and close the poll. I think I'm going to go with the PG-13 one of a child getting shot. So include a silhouette of a baby in the womb getting shot by a bullet. So this is more like the viewer's perception of his dream, and less so his actual realistic dream, which would include a lot of gore and disturbing imagery. And also, I will say, I think at the end of this chapter, when Vassa kills the rebels, I don't want to show bullets going through their heads or they're dying or anything. I want to show Hana's reaction to it as the lights go, like there's a flash of light and then it's darker again and then a flash of light and a flash of light. Right? And her face slowly goes from being proud that she caught the rebels to, her being like, she's getting like really, really visibly upset about it. So that's how I want to end this chapter, and it'll just be brutal. It'll be brutal. Cool, very cool. Thanks for your input, guys. All right, next. I want to include, because it's child trafficking, maybe include something to do with slavery. Yeah. So like this can get controversial, but how about children in chains? Like how they did in the slave trade in America. Should I include that? I don't know. Of course, I'm against slavery, but I'm also very much against child trafficking, which is a form of slavery in modern day. It's really sad. I don't know if because it's that could step on some toes. That would be somewhat controversial, So I don't know. Let me pull this because actual chains or like ropes? Good question. I was thinking like, how in the slave trade, well actually, have you ever seen Django Unchained? There is a scene in the beginning where Django kills a slave owner, and the freed slave, he gives one of them the key to the chains, so they're like linked by chains, right? That's kind of my thought process of that. It could be ropes. I don't know. You know what I find disturbing? There is a farm. A thing that really disturbs people about chicken farms. And that's the fact that they grind up baby male chicks if they're male. Because the male chicks are roosters and they only need one. And if they allow any of them to exist, then the eggs are going to get fertilized. And the farmers don't want that, so they grind them up. Which is disturbing. But maybe we could do that with I'm not saying to grind up children, but I'm not saying we should symbolize children being ground into meat parts, like the baby chicks. But that would kind of show Vassa's anxiety of what's happening to children. He's a very yeah, that's a fair reaction. That is a very fair reaction. And you could probably experience this by playing a certain game that is called Can Your Pet. Can Your Pet. That's what it's called. It's called Can Your Pet. And this game is based on that. Yeah. And basically what happened, I think this was made by PETA. I don't know. Or maybe it was just a comedy thing. But basically, the game is called Can Your Pet. And what literally happens in this is you throw them in a baby chicken grinder and they become canned. And it's hilarious, but also really, really gross and sad. It's very, very brutal. And that's based on a real thing. Roosters, baby roosters, get killed. Yeah, and they're all in like a, yeah, the egg industry shreds baby chicks alive. It's called chick culling. I hope this isn't graphic. I don't want to, hold on. I'm gonna look at this to make sure it's not too graphic first. Oh my gosh. Okay. Ooh, okay, that's pretty bad. I wish I had like a censor button. But yeah. That's pretty bad. Yep, I'm done looking at that, but I can show like the top part of the page. This this is chick culling, or unwanted chick killing, and it's the process of separating and killing unwanted male and unhealthy female chicks, or they're put on a conveyor belt, and then they underneath here is like a grinder, and people say that it is pretty bad. Yes, very, very bad. Very, very gruesome. My man doing unneeded research. Yeah. Yeah, I am. That being said, bye-bye to that. It's a really crazy reality. It's really disturbing. And so maybe I should include children on a conveyor belt in chains falling off a conveyor belt. Should I include that imagery? That is a question, because Vassa is very he's getting the nightmare vibe going. I'm glad. You know, this is a nightmare sequence. Oh, okay, let's pull that. Do you want to include such disturbing imagery as children in chains, conveyor belt falling? So they're gonna be falling like you'll see them fall. I'm gonna grind them up. That's gonna be one of the options. The next one is gonna be, oh heck nah. All right, so that's the poll. Yeah, should I include that in my dream sequence? Grind them up. Thanks, guys. Thank you. I appreciate. What a disturbing image, man. Because you're not gonna actually see them get ground up, but 2 votes for grind them up. All right, we're gonna grind up the babies. Children in chains. falling from a conveyor belt. Yeah, it doesn't show. It's just like they fall off the panel, and that's it. Yeah. Yeah. So it's still PG-13. It's not like people who know what that is will see that and be like, oh, that's disturbing. Yeah. Anyway, nightmare vibes. Very fun. Okay, so how do we start this? I have an hour left. Okay. Hey Siri, set an alarm for 8:20. Cool. Alright, so cool vote. How do you start a dream? That's the next question. How do you start a dream? Usually when I think of a dream sequence, they either fall, like I imagine like a person falling into water. I don't know why, but it might be just like Lord of the Rings or something, but that's what I imagine. I don't want to start a dream sequence. That sounds a bit cliche. So how do we start a dream sequence? That's our next Q&A question here. Like, how do we get in it? You know? How do we start a dream sequence? One. So possible falling into water, like, and then eventually it gets darker. With things eventually getting darker and darker into the abyss. That's a thing. It happens. We can do the opposite. Start it with fire because of passion. You know, that's symbolism. Fire. Start with Vassa on fire. Start with Vassa walking towards the camera on fire. We just start the page with a man walking towards the camera on fire, and it turns out it's Vassa. And then we can do that. I like that idea. That's a good one because he's very passionate about this. And also his past really disturbs him due to his passion for children. That could work. And also his rage. It's not only his passion, but his rage that's going to be coming up soon. It's foreshadowing. Manga-wise, I think that Vassasaurus, LOL, auto-corrected that way. That's hilarious. Could be getting ready for bed. Then the next frame, he's just in a warehouse somewhere else, panicking. Interesting. Ooh, I like the cut to a building on fire. Wait, how did I end up here? Doesn't have to be how did I get here. It could just be an unexplained cut. Very interesting. Very interesting. Fire. Sponge gar flee flee. Pat gar flee flee. Yes. Cool. Someone's gonna pop in, see the poll, and be like, what the heck? So I'm gonna end the poll. Very fun stuff. Alright, so yes. So Vassasaurus, he falls asleep because he's jet lagged and he's in the car right now. They're on their way to the warehouse. And so we can just start with some where suddenly he's the one. That could work. Um, have you ever, you know the "this is fine" meme? Like, like that. This one. This is kind of what I'm thinking. Um, sort of. I don't know why. Um, yeah. Kind of thinking. I don't know why that popped in my head. Um, but yes. So we can do that. We can, like Caleb said, he's in the warehouse somewhere panicking. Cut to a building on fire. Warehouse. Cut to a building. Another possibility is he's driving. Suddenly he's driving. Is Hana there? Also, this would be a good cut, because I know that in Japan they have right wheel drive, right? So instead of the wheel being on the left side like in America, it's on the right side. Do Soviet Russian cars have it on the right side? That's the question, because it would be a cool cut to where, yeah, we'll look that up. Russians drive on the right side of the road. Okay, here's my idea. So, okay, so it wouldn't be unheard of. Yeah, it wouldn't be unheard of that the car would be right-hand drive. So it may be cool to have something along the edges. Oh, sorry. Well, no, Hana isn't, because it's kind of like what happened in the past. I'm assuming he was driving to where the traffickers were when it happened, so he's remembering when he was in the car. Yeah, it may be cool to have something along the edges of these dream frames, like maybe some fog, blur, etc., to add to the surrealism and to help explain visually which panels were the dream when he wakes. That's a good idea. There's also what they do sometimes with memories in manga is they'll make the background black, so that like the page itself black, or all the pages are on fire. I can add some burn marks and different things. Um, um, or maybe smoking. Okay, so yeah, memory sequences, as you can see here, they typically have the panel. They typically have the panels like this, and the backgrounds are page outside of that is black. Let me see if I can find another example of that. But yeah, so instead of it being white panels, like the white paper with a black, with just a panel, they usually have black, like this. Yeah, this is an example of like maybe a shoujo manga, where it like fades into black in the back right here. Yeah, so that's an example of that. So that looks like it's a little romantic for my tastes. What I'm saying. What a drawing! Oh my gosh. Sorry, got distracted. But yeah, you understand what I mean. And also, they tend to have much more blacks in the, like, here's an example. They have much more blacks in the background. It's like a change of dynamics and contrast and different things. Also, does Vassa smoke? Since Rihanna mentioned smoking, Vassa smoke like the occasional cigar, or does he? Is he a cigarette guy, or is he clean? That's a good question. Contemplate that while I'm trying to find an example. Anyway, suddenly he's driving. I like that idea. So, last panel. So we go. First panel shows Hana driving with Vassa leaned back in the passenger seat. Vassa's a cigar man. Sweet. I also smoke the occasional cigar, believe it or not, but only on celebrations. So, and never in front of children. So the first panel shows Hana driving with Vassa leaned back in the passenger seats. Actually, cigarette is more of a detective thing. That's true. I do not smoke cigarettes. My brother does though, or he did. Now he vapes. So, the first panel shows Hana driving with Vassa leaned back in the passenger seat. The second panel, is dreamlike. Black background. What's it called? It has Vassa driving on a right-wheel drive, driving in a right-wheel drive car. Russian car. Okay, so second panel. So it basically mirrors, just grosser, lol, yeah. So the panel will basically mirror each other. Hana is driving, and then Hana is gone. Then Vassa is driving, and it's a dream now. And he's still in the same seat because it's the opposite. The cars are opposite, right? So it goes from left wheel to right wheel, or yeah. So that means that basically the wheel goes from the Japanese left wheel drive to the Russian right wheel, or American, I guess, right wheel drive, where the in Russia they drive on the right side of the road. So that makes sense in context, and also like historically, and also I think that just makes a good juxtaposition. It's just neat because you don't have to change the panel hardly at all. You just show opposites, you know. Vassa is gone. No, Hana is gone. Vassa is driving, still in the quote-unquote passenger seat because they're on opposite sides of the... Y'all understand, yeah? Okay, cool. The wheel is on opposite sides of the car because that's what cars do for some reason. Okay, so he starts driving in a right wheel drive of a Russian car. What happens next? Let's say Vassa, the car moves the car drives into the fire of a lit cigar, where Vassa smokes and looks up. The next panel shows a of which the next panel shows a See, what I like about dreams is they kind of transition into the next thing. So, like, for example, the car driving into like a fire, and then the fire becoming the fire of him lighting his cigar, and then him looking up, and then he sees a building. And it could be like stuffed to the brim with children or something. Or him looking inside a container. It could be a, maybe it's like a what are those called? Freight containers? Boat container things. Shipping container. Okay. Okay. The next panel shows a shipping container full of children in chains. Vassa. A zoom into This is getting interesting so far. Yeah, this is what I like about dream sequences. It doesn't have to have like any sort of like rhyme or reason to it. You can just kind of flow, and that's been fun so far. The first panel shows Hana driving the left-wheel drive police car with Vassa leaned back in the passenger seat. The second panel is dreamlike and has Vassa driving in the right-wheel drive Russian car. The car drives into a fire, which turns into the fire of a lit cigar, of which Vassa smokes and then looks up. The next panel shows a shipping container full of children in chains. Man. You know how people say, "Oh, geez, you got to be really high to come up with this stuff." I think when I think of like animation sequences and stuff that a lot of people smoke weed and watch, and they're like, "Whoa, that's crazy, man!" I think like those are probably written when sober. You know, they just have really wild imaginations and they just flow through it. So. We see Vassa's back. We see a shot of Vassa's back. So far, we're just jumping panel to panel. The thing about this dream sequence is it's probably going to take like 3 or 4 pages. So far, yeah, the children in chains are probably going to just be the end of this page. So we're going to do 58. So we turn the page. How do we go from children in chains to the grave of... We're just going to delete this, yeah. The baby and the wife. What was the wife's name? We decided a name. It was Kaol something. Kaiko. And what should Vassa's last name be? That's a new question. Okay. Okay, we're gonna figure that out. But yeah. And is there a Russian equivalent to? Is there a Russian equivalent to Lucy that he could name his child? Vassasaurus. Here lies Kaiko Vassasaurus. So this is where you turn the page. Let's have those children be skeletons now, yeah? The same panel with the children are them as skeletons. I mean, that's all right, yeah? You like that idea? Lucia? Let me see. Svetlana. Lucia. Lyosait. I don't know how to speak Russian. I'm just pretending like I do. Svetlana. Slavic feminine given name. Svet. Comrade, I believe. Here lies Kaiko Comrade. Yeah, I'll go with Svetlana. Because apparently Lucia is similar to it. Yeah. Cool. And it's very popular in Russia, as you can see. Right here. And for some reason in South Africa. Cool. I'm gonna name the baby that died Svetlana. Svetlana. Don't know how to pronounce it, but it is a name. And it's just kind of a wink to Lucy without it being like, this is the same person, right? So it's kind of a red herring for the readers. Okay. So when you turn the page, you see the same panel of the children in the shipping container is redrawn, but with them as skeletons. I don't know. Should they be skeletons? Because I'm trying to go from this to the death of his wife. So, and baby. No, to childbirth. What can symbolize childbirth? That's interesting. Should I drop the skeletons? Should the skeletons be a thing? Yeah. No, yes. Hi, chat. Skeleton. Cool. While we're figuring that out, let's try to come up with certain things. Oh yeah, Russian names. What's the question about skeletons? So there's a panel with a shipping container full of children in chains, and when they turn the page, I'm thinking about just having the same panel with those children as skeletons. But at the same time, I'm like looking up oh, Guardian. What if they become something inanimate, like a doll or a puppet? That could work. Like the objectification of children. That's good. Ooh. That's a very good idea. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also that would be very good symbolism for the children thing as well. Stuffed animals, maybe? Skeletons? Dreidels? Oh, what are those kapukcha dolls, you know? What are they called? Doll inside a doll. Russian. Yeah, that. Matryoshka. Matryoshka. Matryoshka dolls. Okay. While we're deciding this, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. Plus, I gotta go to the bathroom. I've been needing to the bathroom, so I'll be right back. Yes. The children go down the conveyor and dreidels pop out. Okay, so I had an idea while I was in the bathroom. Those 5 seconds I was in there. After the dream, whenever they get to the warehouse, I am back. Whenever they get to the warehouse, and this is now going to actually happen, we're just going to see Lucy sitting outside of the door, holding on to whatever the children turn into. So whether it be a doll or a stuffed animal, to show that she saw his dream and that she's worried about him. And she's just hugging it. She's hugging it. She's just like really kind of sad looking, you know. And I think that's a good idea. I like that. The audience is torn. Very cool. Yes. So dolls or stuffed animals work for me. I think both can be haunting in an interesting way. I was honestly torn. I like all those answers the same. Very cool. Cool. We're gonna go with dolls, maybe? Stuffed animals. Ooh. I'm torn too. I don't know which one to do. I think dolls would be more symbolic. Because I don't know. Would they be though? Because animals you can have represent people. Oh snap, that's cool. If she's holding it, it could be either be her hugging the stuffed animal or holding the hand of the doll beside her. Yeah. Oh, I like that. I like that. I like. Like she's trying to comfort those children that are dead, but she can't, or can. Probably not, but I agree. Okay, dolls. Dolls it is. We're gonna go with dolls. Not skeletons, dolls. And I have a very specific doll that I'm thinking of. Not that kind of doll, come on. Russian dolls. Soviet Russian dolls. Okay, these are just these ones. Something like that. Yeah. I can click it. Yeah. Artel dolls. Is that what they're called? Artel dolls? They have those rosy cheeks. Caleb says, "Is she a ghost? Isn't she?" All I want to do is make a Pepe Sylvia meme about it. Both works. Yes, so I'm thinking these dolls, yeah? Will these work? Yeah. Wearing traditional Russian garb with the rosy cheeks. So, Artel Soviet Russian dolls. I'm gonna put that in there, just so that way I can remember what to look up for reference. Cool. All right, we got that. Are we gonna see Kayako? Oh. I know this one. Yeah, It's Always Sunny. I've seen this for sure. For sure. This one. Yeah. Okay. The Russian nesting doll could work. True. But I'm thinking these dolls just so that Lucy can interact with it outside of the room where Vassa kills the rebels. Just to show that she's worried about him. And also to show that she's her own person. That's separate from Vassa, right? that would kind of be a spoiler, but it might not connect the dots with everybody. Some people would think, oh, she's a ghost, and other people think, oh, why is she outside of the room from Vassa? So they might just think she's a ghost. They might also think that she's, I don't know. But in reality, again, spoilers, she's telepathically communicating with Vassa. So would it make sense that she's even able to go outside of the room? That is a question. I'm gonna poll that, yeah? Okay, hold on. Should Lucy only be able to appear where Vassa sees her if she's communicating telepathic? Okay. Where are we? Okay. Caleb, my version of the story, all the characters are going to say as cartoony as they normally are, but the dolls in the store are going to be replaced with real pictures of real dolls. That's the. To be fair, some ghosts can telepathically communicate too, so you can still keep the mystery. True. And who knows? Maybe I can change it on a whim too. So she's actually dead. I got half yes, half no. Ooh. 67% yes, 33% no. Yeah. So my question is like, okay, that's interesting. That's an interesting debate. If you're communicating telepathically to someone and you're an apparition yourself, and you're unconscious, would you be able to appear outside of the room with them, from them, right? Right. I think he needs to see her so he can understand her. If the sort of language barrier things exists between them, that's true. I meant to vote no because Lucy could be using projection, so she might project outside. Yeah, how can you project whenever it's outside? Whenever it's outside of where the person is, you know? So how can we have a moment with Lucy alone in that case, though? So I want Lucy to be alone so that way she can hug the doll. But it doesn't really make sense logically because it is projection through telepathy. So she's projecting herself to, like, her ideal version of herself to Vassa telepathically. So maybe she sends her projection to somewhere else, and it's the projection making contact with Vassa that allows her to communicate telepathically. Maybe. Maybe she's just projecting. Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah. Maybe she's able to project herself anywhere. But she... Okay, so what's her power? Is it telepathy, projection, or both? Because if she's projecting, that means she can go anywhere, basically. She can walk through walls and do whatever. But she needs to know the location, right? So any location that Vassa had been to, she can travel to. And if Vassa is there, she can go there, right? So, in that case, yeah, so let's figure that out. Learning more about Lucy's powers. Projection. or telepathy. Line of sight. But if it would make sense, she could be in the same area and in his line of sight, but at a distance, so she's still alone. That could work. That could work. I gotta go, so I'll see you guys next stream. Thank you for hopping on, Rihanna. It's good to see you. I appreciate you. Sorry I have videoception going on. But, okay. Okay, here's my poll. So the idea here is, what's Lucy's power? Yeah? Is it projection, where she's able to project herself to locations that she's seen before, in which case the only places she can see is through Vassa. So, but that being said, that means she can go back to places where Vassa has been, so she can go back to that room that he had been in before. But she can't go back, for example, to the detective agency because she only met Vassa in that room. So she was kind of stuck in that room until Vassa showed up, I guess. He was the first person to show up. Maybe? I don't know. Like, what caused her to show up in that room to begin with all the writing stuff going on, you know? Uh-oh, I got a warning for copyright stuff, yeah? It might be okay, though. Yes. But yeah, so that's kind of the poll. So projection, capable of traveling where Vassa has been, or telepathy, where Vassa needs to see her. Which one is Lucy's power? Projection is kind of a both, because really, if you think about the lore, yeah, telepathy and projection, maybe it's a unique combo of both. She can telepathically communicate with Vassa, but she can project herself to certain areas. Yeah, I think so too. That way, she herself, in her mind, no, you're fine. In his vicinity, sorry, you ran into a limit of character count. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So that's kind of my thought on projection. So there's like specific projection. She can read his mind, and she does what he thinks. You know, she communicates to him via thought. So for her, she's speaking with her mouth, but actually she's somewhere in a hospital bed being experimented on, and in her mind, she's talking to him. And in that case, she could travel with projection. She could travel to areas that Vassa has been before, since she met him. And so she can have her own little moment sitting outside of the room, not really knowing what Vassa is doing. She could be lost, right? Then there's just straight, like, firm telepathy, where she can only communicate to Vassa and see what Vassa sees. And so she has to be in his line of sight. The projection one is more of a, like, her mind creates a 3D model of wherever Vassa has been, and everywhere else is basically just pitch black. Like, she doesn't even know what it is. It's not pitch black, but it's like what a blind person sees, you know. They don't know what it is, so they don't see anything. That's kind of the thought, you know. So if it's a location that Vassa hasn't seen since she's been there, then she can't travel to it. But wherever she goes isn't necessarily where Vassa is. So she can be around, doing her own thing, but Vassa doesn't have to see her in that case with projection. With telepathy, she she can only exist in his line of sight. So that's the vote. Or I guess that's the poll. So, yeah. I think I'd probably prefer projection in that sense. Because she still has telepathy, but she's creating a new world based on what she has seen with Vassa in her mind. So she's able to travel back and forth. But with telepathy, it's just line of sight. She can only exist where Vassa is looking. Which I think would be more of a figment of his imagination sort of thing. So, like, if she was actually, like, a trauma, then that would be more like the telepathy sort of thing, where she has to be in his line of sight. So maybe by the end of this first volume, people can scratch that out of the possibility list. Yeah, I agree. I feel like projection works for the intended story. Cool. Sweet. So I'll close that poll. Oop. End poll. Cool. Alright, so the children are... Yeah, so you can have her have a moment to herself. Cool. The same panel of the children in the shipping container is redrawn as Soviet Russian dolls. And I think we move on to the room that Vassa and his wife were preparing for the baby. That's gonna be like Up vibes, you know? Do-do-do-do. Vassa places a doll in a crib. We see the next panel is of a doll being picked up and then placed in a crib. Vassa kisses his very pregnant wife, Kayako. Man, that's sad. That's so sad. Ah, I love it and I hate it. That's like my worst nightmare. Okay. So we get to see Kayako. So I need to design her. Okay, how do we go from that to her death? Maybe we can have a picture of her on that he's looking at by the grave, the two graves. Last night I planned something incredibly sad for a story I'm working on, and I was so angry that I liked the plot line because it'd be heartbreaking. That's how I feel, man. That's how I feel. I love that feeling though. I love crying for like emotionally relating to something. But man, that's sad. Okay. I'm guessing hand. We could see Vassa sitting in the waiting room first to show that it was in childbirth. Even though he told Hana, we can see his anticipation for this big step in his life. Okay. What's a waiting room? I've never actually been into a hospital for pregnancy reasons, so. Maternity waiting facilities. I like that. That's a good shot. And then maybe we can have the doctor come out looking troubled to show Vassa's anticipation fade before cutting to her death. Yeah. The next panel shows Vassa reading a newspaper. Okay, so shows a. I like this shot here, where it's like a door, and then we can have the doctor like walk in through the door, and Vassa's face becoming really sad. Yeah. Okay, I don't have much time. I have 5 minutes. Okay. Sometimes a parent will wait outside at certain stages of procedures, such as if the doctor feels the patient needs to be alone. Sometimes a father just sits in the room with the mother. That's true, huh? So I guess there'd have to be a reason he's not there with her. Hmm. Hmm. So maybe something happened and Vassa had to leave, like signs of complication. But maybe he assured her things would be alright and tried to keep his hopes up. Ooh, this is good. So he's waiting in nervous anticipation. Is that what happens? I'm not sure. Hmm. So we could show the hospital room, or we could just cut straight to the graves, you know? Because we already said to Hana that it was during childbirth. Hmm. And we could go back and forth between the case and the pregnancy as well. And so if we were gonna do that, we could connect it. And that's what we're kind of already doing. Because the shipping container full of children, the doll being placed in a crib, and then we could just have the suspense where it goes from one to the other, right? And then at first it gradually kind of transitions between the two, but then the cuts get more and more jarring to where it's more intense over time. I think that could work. I'm gonna write that down. And that's where you get the imagery of like the baby in the womb getting shot, right? That didn't really happen. He shot a kid. Yeah. Okay. So that's for next time. I gotta. Oh, there's so much stuff we came up with today. So good. Okay. Next time. I gotta write that down. So at first the transitions between the case and Kayako's death, Kayako and his baby's death, are gradual, but over time they get more jarring as the nightmare ramps up. That could work, especially leading into how intense the end of the chapter is. The case and the nightmare ramp up. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna keep going tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. I'll be back. Tomorrow's my day off, and I want to sleep in. And if I stream, then it'll be pretty late for you guys. So I'm gonna start Saturday morning. Yeah. So that'll be your Friday evening, Friday afternoon. So around 3 o'clock on Friday. Yeah, I'll be back on Saturday before I go to work again. So, all right. Thank you everybody for popping in. Thank you, Imagine Rejector. Thank you, Rihanna, though she's already left, and thank you, Caleb, though he's already probably gone back to work. I appreciate you guys all the time for coming in and helping me write this. This has been a lot of fun. This especially for me. I love dream-like stuff, writing things that are very interesting, coming up with new powers, different things. It's been a lot of fun. And so I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next time, yeah? Yeah. Looking forward to more of this. This chapter's almost done, and more hype keeps coming in. Yes, there's just so much that I want to include. I have a lot of plans for this manga, a lot of symbolism. It's very fun. Lots of themes of like children and childcare and neglect and abuse that I kind of want to touch on. So very exciting stuff. it's basically it's gonna be like a it's gonna be like a how do you put it? It shows my love for children, I guess, in a non-creepy way. This manga is going to show like how much I care about children and how much I wish for their well-being. So it's going to bring up a lot of hard to swallow stuff, like, you know, sexual slavery. I might bring up, you know, something I probably can't say on YouTube that starts with a P. But anyway, yeah. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See you guys on Friday. I look forward to more streams and more writing. So, and yeah, I'm gonna keep writing probably for a while. Even if, like, for example, my goal for the next chapter, it doesn't meet its goal, it doesn't matter to me. I'm still gonna be writing it. I'll still be streaming everything. So yeah, I'm just having too much fun working on this. So yep, I'll see you guys Friday at 3 p.m. Central Time, or Saturday in Japan at 6 a.m. Japanese time. All right, see you guys then. Thanks again for coming by.